So this is the mechanism for doing two things on the mower deck. The first, this long handle, is used to raise and lower the deck. So like this, the deck would be lowered. Like this, the deck would be raised. Um, there was also a mechanism to engage the drive belt. And so I removed this because the tractor that this mower deck is going on has an electrically engaged PTO, and that means that the blades can be stopped just by turning the PTO off. So there's no real need to have a mechanism for tightening and loosening the drive belt. Plus, the mower deck, as I received it, was missing some of the components, and they were probably removed specifically because the tractor did have an electric PTO. So the individual pieces have been removed from the deck, and everything's getting cleaned up. The spindles are aluminum. They have sealed bearings, two sealed bearings, one on each side, and a collar in the middle. So the bearings seem to be in very good condition, so I'm not going to bother with extracting them and replacing them. All the surfaces have been first mechanically ground down to remove the paint and rust. Then everything's treated with evaporust. The three blades are in very good condition. There's no big chips out of the cutting edges, and they're straight. So I'm not going to replace those. The rust has been ground down a bit and then treated with evaporust, and I'll give them a coat of rust restoring treatment and then paint. These are the two pulleys that are used to apply tension to the main rotor belt. These didn't have sealed bearings, so they were cleaned out using a chem dip and then carb cleaner, and then grease was stuffed back in. And they're also in good condition, so I'm not going to bother replacing those either. And they go on to spindles. One of them is fixed on the mower deck. The other one is on a pivot that's held in place with a spring to maintain tension. This is the part I hate. There we go, all ready for rust treatment. For the most part, the deck is in really good shape. The steel is an eighth of an inch thick, and so it's really solid. There's really only two spots where it had rusted through. This corner over here, and a little bit over here. So I've put JB Weld putty over the areas where it rusted through, and I'm going to let that cure overnight, and then start painting. Now, the surface of the deck has already been ground down to get rid of the surface rust and already treated with evapor-rust. So our first layer of paint is going to be the Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. And so we're going to put one coat of that all over, let it dry. And our second coat is going to be just a regular Rust-Oleum primer to get that all ready for its final color coat. There's one side done. Tomorrow, turn it over, paint the top side. So for the second coat of paint, I'm just using a regular Rust-Oleum primer. So that's on top of the Rust Reformer spray paint that was used to give the first coat on all the various parts. So there's our mower deck, and after that's dried, we'll turn the pieces over, do the other sides, and then we'll be doing the final top coat of paint. So the mower deck has had its final top coat silver paint, and I've added a couple of stickers, one to show the belt, and another one just to replace the model number and serial number plate. So not perfect, but good enough. We're going to remove the old bearings and replace them. They're not all seized, but there's 3 of them that are completely seized. The other ones are a bit gritty. So you can see underneath that first bearing, there's a bushing. All you need to do is push it aside so that you can take an old screwdriver, put it down, and place it against the bearing on the other side to be able to knock it out. So we'll do that next, and we'll take out the bearings. So there's 2 bearings per spindle. I've got 4 spindles, so I'm going to remove 8 bearings, and then we'll replace them. So that takes care of removing the bearings. So now we need to clean out all the grease from inside the spindles, and we'll be cleaning up the bushing because we're going to reuse that. And the new bearings are in the freezer so that they'll shrink a little bit, so that when we put the bearings back in the spindles, they'll slip in more easily.